Hello, dear viewer. World Cup is only 3 more days away, and we still have 2 groups left to go. So let's do them both today. Group G, one of the many fabled groups of death this year, and the insignificant Group H, containing 4 teams that are all destined to go home without making any sort of impact at this World Cup. So, we have Group G, which stands for gee, what a tough group this is. We have powerhouse Germany, a one-man team called Cristiano Ronaldo, the United States, and their boogeyman Ghana. Truly, any one of these 3 teams can make it out with Germany. It'll be an interesting group to check out. Germany, as I've stated in previous videos, is that team that no one wants to have to face. They're always solid, they always seem to try harder at World Cup, probably to keep that stigma alive. They're 3-time world champions, their last one by paying a ref to award them a free goal. Germany is no stranger to success on the pitch. Their booger-eating coach has been with them for the last 2 World Cups, and he's likely going to apply the same tactics this year too. I don't think there's a single player on the German squad that isn't world class. So if you love rooting for the underdog, then join me in hoping these guys get eliminated as quickly as possible. Germany faces their toughest match first in Salvador, then they face Ghana in Fortaleza, and they end their easiest pie travel arrangement in Recife, getting to stick entirely to the northeast coast of Brazil. Honestly, Germany have pretty much been handed the keys to the knockout stages, haven't they? Portugal is the lesser powerhouse of this group, miles beneath Germany in potential, history, national achievements in the sport, etc., boasting one big player, and that's pretty much it. They can beat the everlasting crap out of nobody teams, like in 2010 when they crushed North Korea 7-0, but that's just about where the power stops. When faced with real competition, more often than not, Portugal folds. This group will give them plenty to worry about. I don't expect them to be able to beat Germany in their opener in Salvador, so they'll most likely have to get out there and attempt to kill Ghana and the US. This may actually work against them, the pressure and all. They fly to the dreaded Manaus to face the United States, and they end their campaign in Brasilia against Ghana. More likely than not, both teams needing the points desperately to advance. The United States has long been considered a laughingstock in the sport for having the arrogance of ignoring the world's favorite sport for so long in favor of sports whose quote-unquote World Series involve only 2 nations. So naturally, it's always given the world a particular pleasure to knock them out of this tournament. They definitely arrive with a chip on their shoulder, eager to prove that they're not the same crappy team that was pretty much a joke from before 2002 or so, when they finally appeared on the radar. Now, current affairs have them as a pretty decent team, capable of upsetting any prediction. This year, though, they got stuck with possibly the worst draw they could have been stuck with. Germany is Germany, Portugal is no slouch, and Ghana has knocked them out of the past 2 World Cups. So really, it's a scary prospect for them. Not an impossible one, though. Their first game is about redemption. Defeating Ghana would dispel the ghosts of their past. They'd likely go on to the next 2 games versus Portugal and Germany with renewed vigor. But losing a 3rd time to Ghana at World Cup would likely leave them with no win to continue on. I think it all hinges on that first game. Thankfully, the United States got rid of ancient relic Landon Donovan, a guy they mistakenly thought was one of the best in the world, and who arrogantly took a sabbatical when his team needed him the most, during qualifiers. So their team's future looks a little brighter, now that they can count on more youthful talent like Graham Zusi, the patron saint of qualifying Mexico to the World Cup. Which leaves us Ghana. Ghana was the only African nation to qualify out of group stages in the last World Cup, hosted in Africa, only later to be defeated by a handball. Ghana likely will be pumped up to avenge the perceived wrong committed against them, and statistically they have the most youthful team at this tournament, so energy will be a major factor for them, if not experience. Honestly, this group can go any quantity of ways. You can bet your bottom dollar it's going to be Germany and one other team making it out of this group alive. But that bet is boring. So here's a scenario that I would be thrilled with. Germany and Portugal tie 1-1 in their opener. Ghana continues to prove to the United States who is boss in that rivalry, and they win 2-1. Germany and Ghana tie after a very physical and emotional game. Portugal, desperate for points, pulls a tour de force with CR7 to win over the United States, and then another emotional tie leaves Germany eliminated without having been defeated, while the United States joins them. In the other simultaneous match, Ghana and Portugal speculate with a 0-0 draw that pays off for both. That would be amazing. Ghana and Portugal to the next round, that'd be awesome. I'll probably be very alone with this hope, though. In all likelihood, it's going to be Germany probably steamrolling the group as usual, but for us to break our curse, Germany needs to not make it to knockout stages, so my hope remains that they just 3-tie their way out. So that's Group G. Now on to Group H. I mean, why waste a whole video on that group? It's 4 scrubs that will not even make it to a quarterfinal. Russia, Belgium, Algeria, and South Korea. None of these have any true history with the sport. Well, Russia has a tiny bit of ancient history pre-1950s. South Korea paid refs in 2002 to make it to 4th place. Look up Byron Moreno, otherwise known as the most hated man in Italy. Belgium, well, if you want to call it history to make other teams look badass, then sure. Algeria? Pfft, that's a guaranteed 3 and out. So yeah, nothing to see in Group H that'll be interesting. Prediction? Everyone in the world is going to turn their TV sets off during Group H. Okay, Belgium to top, Russia to clinch second. There. And that, my friends, is all 8 World Cup groups for you, in my humble opinion. Now all that's left to do is to wait for World Cup in 3 days. Till next time, dear viewers. But before you go, dear viewer, join my fantasy league. So 4 years ago, FIFA.com had this nifty fantasy football game where you had a fixed amount of money to buy a limited amount of players. And they brought it back this year, sponsored by McDonald's. Think you can do a better job of predicting than dumb old Asa? Then join my league. It's called Asa League, ASALEAGUE, and the password is RAR. So let's see who can build the better team. Alright, so see you all at World Cup.